And they all were, in those days,
Yeah.
the houses were black of the soot that uses the coke that used to burn in the stove. They had central heating those days.
No.
So all the houses were black and why have my mother sent me to this place?
Was there any horse shit around?
Me want my dad, give me to my wee, wee. Me want my dad, give me to my wee. Me want my dad, give me to my wee, wee.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the mic. We have a special guest here. Actually, I have two. Really, that's lovely. I have a gentleman, an amazing guy.
Is that so?
I'm going to go with the Sir Derek Bobbington. Yeah, is that right?
Derek Bobbington.
Not Sir.
No, I'm not a sir. I have been knighted.
Well, we're nice, you know.
We knight you now.
Whatever you guys want to do, I'm in your hands, right?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sir Derek
Bobbington.
Bobbington. Yes.
Theophilus.
Round of applause, man. Yes. You got so much stories.
Yes, I'll try to cram 6 to 7 years of my life into 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes?
15, 20 minutes. That's 67 years of your life.
That's
Really?
Yes.
Right. Where we start? Where do we start?
Well, I'll introduce myself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
I need to introduce myself first because I haven't been given an introduction as I needed.
Yes.
Who you are? Who is you?
I need to introduce myself first.
Yeah.
Really, we should have introduced myself first, and then we go on to introduce Derek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm Awanda Lutuli.
Yeah. Country?
South Africa.
South Africa.
Yes.
Okay.
Cedric, he's a friend of mine.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So it's an honor for me to be sitting on the podcast today and be joining you to learn more about your stories and stuff.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for it's a pleasure to have you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a
Fine.
pleasure.
Gentlemen, my name is Derek Bobbington, Theophilus Fitzgerald, Benjamin Hubbard Doolittle Thomas.
Wow. How many names are in there?
I generally use those names just to introduce myself.
Just introduce yourself.
When I'm
Wow.
doing recording.
Yeah.
And I'm formerly from Guyana, which is in South America.
Right.
And I came to England in 1957, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the reason I came to England is because of my mother.
Right.
I started life as an apprentice engineer on motor cars. I did my apprenticeship in Guyana with a British company called Roots Group. You wouldn't guys who know.
We would know. We'll know.
No. They built Hillman Minks. Hillman Minks. They did Avengers. They did Commerce trucks.
Right.
That sort of thing. And it's a British company.
Right.
In Guyana. So I started my apprenticeship there. And after I finished my apprenticeship, my mother said to me, Derek, your father and I has never traveled. So here's your opportunity to go to England.
Yeah.
England? I don't want to go to England. I just finished my apprenticeship. I got more money. I thought I'll have some extra money to take.
So how old are you at the time then when you moved?
20 years of age.
20 years.
Just turned 20.
Wow.
And my mother says, she wanted me to go to high school. But I
Right.
said I want to do my apprenticeship because I always liked cars.
Yeah.
But she thought that once I become a journeyman with more money, I may want to take girls out to parties and so on. So she thought the best way to get me out of the country. So she decided that I'll come to England. I didn't want to because I cried for a week. Honestly, I
Did
didn't
you?
really want to come to England. However, once I got to England, I realized it's an opportunity to do a lot of things.
Right.
But before arriving in England, I left Guyana in June 1957 on a boat called the TV Venezuela. It's an Italian ship. So we went to the Italian ports. We went to Barbados,
Right.
Tenerife, all them. And my first stop at this Italian port, I won't call the name because I don't want to embarrass the country.
That's right. Yeah.
I stepped off the ship, looking around all the lovely buildings, so excited. The first time I've traveled. And I
Yeah.
saw a young man. Every time I stopped, he stopped, following me. I thought, strange. Continue walking. I stopped
He stopped.
and followed me. So I turned to him, eventually I says, what's the problem? Can I help you? He said to me, where is your tail?
Where's your tail?
Your tail.
Of course he thought it was a monkey.
Oh
That's
Wow.
my first racial...
no!
What was this? Was this in Italy? You said, or in England?
In Italy.
In Italy?
Yes,
Wow.
because was the Italian ship I traveled on, which touched the Italian ports.
That's right, yeah.
Right.
Wow.
You and your parents.
No, alone.
yourself?
No.
I was traveling alone at 20 years of age. I never left Guyana before.
Yes. Was this before you came to England?
Yes, before. This all happened
So,
before
so you was younger than 20.
Yes.
So
I was
you-
19.
you were
I was
19, right.
Yeah,
Let's get this straight. Your parents
Yeah.
put you on a ship
Yeah.
on your own
Yes.
and say, off you go.
Yep. Exactly that.
Wow.
And you go. You
You do not argue with your parents.
at the time.
At the time, you never argue with your parents. But as I said, this chap said to me, where's your tail? So I said to him, if you don't get away from me, I'll make that wrap my tail around your neck and strangle you. And he was off. And he was off.
So what was this like? Was this like your first time, sort of like interacting with white
First time
people, or
no.
It wasn't the first time
It
interacting.
wasn't the first time
Right.
because where I was born in Guyana, Guyana is a country that supplied bauxite. Have you heard of bauxite?
No.
No.
Give me that white foil, the foil,
foil.
and the bottle.
Yes.
This aluminum foil
Yeah.
is made out from bauxite.
Right.
Bauxite is like an iron ore.
Right.
You mine for it, you wash it, and then it's turned into aluminium foil. So
Right.
this is what made aluminium foil, bauxite.
Right.
And it comes in different colors, as you can see.
Right.
And bauxite is a very important ore
Can I
because
just see that, please?
yes, because aluminium was what is used to build the aircrafts in World War I and World War II.
Right.
Right.
Aluminium. So the ships used to come down the Demerara River in Guyana,
Yeah.
collect the bauxite, bring it up to England, which they turn into aluminium,
Right.
and they go to Canada, America, all these different places. So Guyana was a very important place during the war.
Right.
So Guyana
Yeah.
was so important
Yeah.
at the time because when it comes to mining,
Exactly.
Guyana used to produce
Bauxite.
this.
Bauxite.
So a bauxite
is then turned into aluminium.
bauxite turns into aluminium. So into aluminium, and then we'll have this foil.
Yes. And all the
Right.
foils you use in your cooking and your
Right.
pots and aluminium pots and
Yeah.
pans and all this. So
Right.
they're very important.
Right.
Another important thing about Guyana, have you heard of Demerara sugar?
I've heard of
Brown
sugar.
Brown
Not-
sugar.
Brown sugar, yes.
Have you had Demerara sugar that people use in their coffee?
I haven't heard of
Never heard
Demerara.
Demerara
Is that a brand or?
No, Demerara sugar it's a brand of sugar, but the name Demerara comes because the sugar estates or the banks of the Demerara River.
Right.
That's how it got its name, Demerara sugar.
Right.
So if you go into Sainsbury's or any of this and you ask for Demerara sugar, they'll bring it and show you.
Right. So,
So
that
that
comes.
is another important thing that Guyana
Guyana.
produces.
Right.
Sugar.
Right. Right. Right.
Jesus Christ, I didn't
So
know that.
is the sugar there? Does it come in like is it like sugar beans or is it like sugar
No,
cane?
a
Because in
sugar-
South Africa we've got like
cane.
sugar cane.
Sugar cane. So
Right.
the juice the cane, the boiled juice
Yeah.
is then condensed into sugar.
Into sugar.
Into
yes.
sugar, yeah.
Oh right.
And it's a very important sugar because lots of people love it in their coffee
Right.
Yes,
because it
yes.
has that lovely
Yeah.
aura taste, you see.
Right.
So that's another product that Guyana produces.
Right.
So how does the cane come up? Because most of the sugar cane come in grain.
Yes, it comes up with a long stick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In various joints. It's very jointy.
Yeah.
Yeah. we used to suck that as well.
Yes.
Used to
Yeah,
eat-
you remember when you're young, you used to and chew it.
It's another good thing about that, it's good for your teeth.
Oh,
Very good for your teeth
In what sense?
because it whitens the teeth and it
Right.
strengthens the gum as well.
Right. I suppose when you're actually biting and actually peeling it.
Yes, as you do.
Yeah, yes, I can
Exactly.
imagine. Yeah.
but how?
we
Why the dentists? They don't even advise us with that
Because they don't know about it.
But then, but then also, where are you going to get sugar cane in England?
Well, if you're in Brixton, in London,
Do you find sugar
oh
cane?
yeah, oh you find
I'm,
sugar.
I'm supposing they're exported from like
Yeah, they export it, but it
from
doesn't
other
take-
countries.
taste the
It doesn't say it's the same,
because
does
we
it?
travel so much, you know.
It does.
Yeah. But Demerara sugar is a very important. We had many estates
Right.
that provides the sugar, and see, all the supermarkets have it. If you
Yeah.
go to the supermarket and ask for Demerara sugar, they'll show you. It's darker in color. It's not that the white stuff that you get in the ordinary sugar.
Right.
Yeah, very important. So
That's
that is where you got the name Demerara, and the name Demerara comes from the estate was on the banks of the Demerara River,
Right,
and the capital of Guyana is Georgetown.
Right.
So I was
Georgetown.
born in a place called Linden. Oh, it's not. It's called Linden.
Right. Right.
And the ships comes down the Demerara River
Yeah.
to where I was born, collect the bauxite, and then ship it out to all parts of the world.
Yeah. So when you obviously then moved from Guyana and then came to Italy. So
From Italy, we took a boat train
Yeah.
all up to Calais, all through Paris, up to Calais. Then those days, the train used to come aboard the boat
Yeah.
and then drives off.
Right.
And then we end up at Victoria.
right.
I end up at Victoria the 1st of August, 1957.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't forget, he was 20 at the time.
Yeah.
But the scary part is somebody comes to him and say, "Where's the tail?"
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's what I'm trying
What
to.
I want to know is, what did you do? You were 20. You're full. You're muscle up.
I was.
Did you
muscling up.
punch him?
No, in fact. No. Well,
thought-
you can't treat violence in violence, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, I used to do bodybuilding.
Oh,
Yes,
in
I saw that.
those
Yes.
days. In fact, I tell a little story about that.
yeah.
At the age of 13 or 14, 6 of us
Uh-huh.
decided that we want to have muscles, so to impress the girls.
Oh, yes, please.
And we hadn't the proper weights. So
Yeah.
we went to the railway yard, collect the old train wheels and a piece of pipe,
Pipes. Yeah.
and we started exercising.
Started lifting.
That's
Is this
right.
from the age of 13? Is
This
it
is 13.
13? So
13.
why inspired that? Apart from just the girls, why do you ever
That's
said
all. You want to
that's
get
all.
muscles.
You're 13, man. You want to be really
Yeah,
good.
You want to have muscles.
Yeah.
So one of our friend's brother was a welder,
Right.
and he decided that seeing that we're making a temp
Right.
to do this, he cut out some proper weights, right? Weigh it, and we started exercising. Then we wrote away to England to a magazine called Hercules magazine.
Right.
And that's a
Hercules.
bustle magazine.
Yes.
And they sent us some proper exercising charts.
Equipment.
A chart, so we can know what exercises
Oh, right,
to do.
right.
Okay.
And we started. And my dear friends, one of our schoolmates who started with us, he was so thin that you can count his ribs when he takes his shirt off. And he was bow-legged.
Wow.
So you can see the skinny bow-legged guy.
Yeah.
But within 4 years,
Yeah.
he won Mr. Guyana contest.
Really?
No.
And what did you also? Was you also competing in the same competition as well?
No, I didn't compete in the competition.
Because I did see a picture when I was actually going through your book. I did actually see a picture of you. Is that yourself?
That's the bow-legged guy.
Right.
I was in England at the time he won that.
At the time.
Oh, wow.
4 years later.
Because he looked really muscly. He was ripped up.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
just imagine being skinny.
Yes.
What exercising done for you.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
See, so that's how we started.
Right.
But if I hit this guy in Italy, I'd been in trouble already. You know? So I just thought, I'll strangle you with my tail if you don't get me. And he
And
was
they
off.
went.
And he was off.
Yeah.
I guess that guy, he was the first person to see a black man.
person. So
because all the propaganda, they think, most of the people.
In those years, this is 57.
And another one is there's a lot of countries in Europe that they haven't, or a lot of places, they haven't seen black people yet, even today.
I can tell you stories, but as we go along.
Oh.
Very interesting.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So from Italy, where were you then heading to?
I heading to England.
You were coming
Yeah.
to England,
So
right?
I arrived at Victoria Station
Victoria Station, yes.
at the 1st of August, 1957. And I saw all the bright lights. Oh, this is fantastic. Nice country. All that.
Beautiful.
So I had some friends of my mother who's already here, and they came to meet me
Yeah.
and took me to the flat where I was going to stay.
Were you staying there by yourself or with some relatives?
Myself.
Oh wow!
They had a
Was this your first time living on your own?
first living
Everything
on my
is-
own. Everything is the first time.
Yes. And how was the culture shock? And just basically here you are at the age of 20 or 19, 20?
20, yes.
20. At the age of 20, you come into a new country. You've never been in this country before. Your first interaction again with with a white person is asking you for where's your tail?
Where's your tail?
And then now you found yourself in a flat living by yourself for the very first time.
Yes, but these two ladies, friends of my mother,
Yeah.
they got this flat to me. But
Yeah.
I was sharing the flat with two other guys
Right.
at the time. So I was so excited, I couldn't wait. Because we got in about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So they took me to the house where I was staying.
Yeah.
But I couldn't sleep because I wanted to see what outside was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So I got about 5:30 in the morning, crept to the front door,
Yeah.
looked down the street. All the houses looked the same.
Yeah.
And they all were, in those days,
Yeah.
the houses were black of the soot that uses the coke that used to burn in the stove. They had central heating those days.
No.
So all the houses were black. And why have my mother sent me to this place?
Was there any horse shit around? No, because I hear there's like a lot. It's like apparently England back in the days, because obviously they didn't have any vehicles at the time, so they used like a lot of.
I didn't notice that. I
No?
didn't see that.
No.
But I thought,
You were
No, honestly, that's just what I've heard. Because obviously they never had cars back in the day, so they used to use like a horse.
well, it was horses around.
yeah,
but,
carriages,
but
isn't
Yeah,
it?
your horse carriages.
carriages.
So that was like one of the main form of transports in
Yeah, there
especially
were buses. There
in
were buses and cars still here, but
Okay.
they were very ancient-looking things.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I looked down the street and I saw, what have my mother sent me to this little pokey place? Never mind.
Yeah.
And then the next couple of days, I went to the company because I was transferred from the company which I did my apprenticeship to the main office
Right.
in London.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to look for a
job. Right.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And so so I didn't face the same problems that people
Other
came
people,
before.
yeah.
So I started working with Roots Group in 1957,
Right.
September. And during that time, I was called in for national service.
Right.
Because in those days, if you come from a Commonwealth country
Yeah.
and we served a certain age, you had to do national service.
Yeah.
For England.
That was mandatory
Yes, it was. in
at the
those days,
time.
At the time.
Anyone who is
If you were in the Commonwealth and it belongs to England,
Yep.
and you're below a certain age, you had to do national
the
service,
national,
service,
yeah,
right?
the army, you have to.
Army, Air Force, whatever forces we were.
Yeah.
Right. So I was called in 1960 to join the forces. So I got my paper, and I was told I need to go to recruiting office to sign in. I went to the recruiting office, and I gave the gentleman at the desk my papers.
Yeah.
And he looked at me right away and says, "You're in the army." I says, thank you very much, but I don't want to join the army. It's either the Air Force.
That's what you never signed for.
No, I said
you
either
came
the Air
here.
Force
Yeah.
or the Navy. He says, "Can you pass the test for the Air Force?" I said, "Why don't you try me?"
Yeah.
So he gave me 20 questions. I look at them. I thought, are these the question? He was much younger than I am anyway.
Right.
can you do that? I says, okay. By the time I walk to my desk, I work with all the answers.
Wow.
No.
Because the questions were mental arithmetic stuff I used to do in school.
Right.
That's
In
right.
those days, you had, instead of pounds, shillings, and pence, you had dollars and cents, changing pounds to dollars and cents.
Right, yeah.
Of what your point weighs, pounds, ounces, and that sort of stuff in those days.
Mm-hmm.
So I work it out, came back, give it. Have you finished already? I says, young, I was very stroppy then. I said, young man, where I came from, this is mental arithmetic to me.
That is shocking, because at some point, you know, in South Africa, a lot of kids, they study more than here.
Of course, we did, yeah.
And here, even now, I have kids, but when I compare the way the kids study, they study. I think if there would be a competition, the African countries study as harder.
Yes, our schooling, the exams that we did in school those days
Yeah.
were built on the British education.
Yes,
But it was much more thorough.
that's right. Yeah,
So, in fact, we learned more about England and other countries than we even know about our own country.
For a country, yeah, that's right.
That's
so when I
true.
got here, I had bags of information.
Information, yeah.
I knew which country is the capital, where they produce, and all that stuff. Because
that's amazing.
Because one of the things we used to as kids, I go to your house in the evening or in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and we go to things like, what's the capital of Australia? What's the capital of Canada?
Yeah.
What can they produce? Between ourselves as kids.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot about the foreign countries, than we knew here about here.
So did you ever get time to actually do your apprenticeship at all, or you just
No, I came straight to the country as a journeyman.
yeah,
apprenticeship.
and then you just didn't even go to do your apprenticeship, you just went straight to do national service?
No, I went first to the company. I worked there for about 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Before my papers came for me
Right.
to join the Air Force. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I worked with Roots Group, that, and then I was called in for national. As I was saying, I was called in for national service and went. So I was sent to Blackpool. I was sent to Blackpool to do a trade test
A trade test.
as a motor mechanic.
Yeah.
Because if I pass the trade test, I'll get a rank right away before even joining the Air Force.
Wow.
So we went up to Blackpool at RAF station in Blackpool, and I did the test, and I got 85% on the test. The rest of the test was on forms. I didn't know anything with forms in the Air Force, so all I did was mechanical stuff, how the engine works, all the rest of it. And
So, if I may budge in there, how many black people were there at the time? So,
I was the only black person where I was working at Roots Group.
Yeah.
I was the only black person there.
really?
Yes. And I always thought in England, who does the sweeping? I look slow. There was an Englishman sweeping the floor.
There must have been a shock.
All this has been
There
a
must have
shock
been a
to
shock,
me.
yes, yeah.
Shock to me.
Yeah.
Another thing happened when I was an apprentice working with Roots.
Yeah.
My supervisor said to me, Lady Roots Sunbeam Talbot is coming in because it has a gearbox problem.
Yeah.
I says, okay. So the car came in, took off the gearbox, and I was put it on the desk to strip it.
Yeah.
The charge hand came running towards me. You can't do that. I says, why? You have to take it to the gearbox department. So every department, gearbox, engine, wheel.
Yeah.
But where I did my apprenticeship,
You did everything.
We do everything.
Yes.
So I says, sir, this is something I do regular. Oh, you can't do it here in England. Or it's the union.
Yeah.
Because everything is union. I thought this is absolutely.
Well, that's the same thing as with like in terms of building work. Because again, where I come from in South Africa, like we haven't got someone called carpenter, electrician, plumber.
You do everything, isn't it?
Bricklayer.
Everything.
We do everything.
Exactly.
And then you come here in the UK, and then you find there's a plumber, there's a paint and decorator, there's this, there's that. You think
if you use the paintbrush, your union is a come and that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
So I got this is absolutely nonsense. But there, my friend, I said, well, that's how they work. However, because I was so, well, I would say so good. I knew my job.
Yeah.
I was just transferred to the area where they did show cars. They do, in those days, you had what is called a Tulip Rally, Monte Carlo Rally.
Yeah.
So I was moved to that department to prepare the cars for the rallies.
Right.
And I met with people like Sterling Moss.
Sterling Moss.
Sterling Moss,
I
the
don't
racing
know.
driver.
Oh, Formula One.
Formula One?
Yeah.
No, there's only
Not
Formula One.
Yeah.
But they used to do rallies.
Right.
The rallies, yeah.
So you should have heard of like he died. You wouldn't know.
No, I
about
wouldn't be
that.
familiar with no.
Yeah, he's a very famous driver.
Right,
Sterling Moss, Peter Harper, Sheila Van Dam's, all these rally drivers I got to know.
Right.
So I used to prepare their cars for the motor show as well at Earl's Court in London.
Good God.
And prepare the cars for the Monte Carlo rallies and so on.
Right.
So that's where I was based.
Right.
Also, very important thing happened at the garage.
Yeah.
Heard of Sir Winston Churchill?
Sir Winston Churchill.
You heard Winston Churchill?
Yes.
Good. Winston Churchill had a state car called a Humber Snipe. Beautiful car with beautiful white sheepskin carpets inside and everything. So the charge hand said to me, Derek, Winston Churchill car is coming in to check the brakes.
Wow.
I said, okay, fine. Car came in.
So was he prime minister at the time?
He was prime
Yes,
minister.
Winston Churchill, yes.
Yes, prime minister at the
Yes.
time. So the car came in, jack it up, put it on the jacks, on the stands. And in those days, to bleed a car brakes,
Yeah.
you had to get someone in the car to pump
pump-
it.
to pump the
You
brakes.
put a little hose in the back of the hub
Yeah.
with a bottle of brake fluid. And as he pumped, the bubble of the air comes out.
Comes
of
out,
the cylinder.
Comes out, yeah.
So I got one of the chaps in the garage to sit in the car while he did. So I was out of the car. Then suddenly I smell somebody smoking
Oh no.
In a workshop.
in the workshop. But it was a funny smell.
Yeah.
So I put my head from under the car. His name was Nick.
He's not
Nick,
smoking inside
Can
the
you
car.
smell something there? Yes, man, I'm having a drag.
Oh.
He was smoking marijuana or something in Winston Churchill's car.
To a prime minister's
Man.
car.
Did he not know that it was?
Of course he knew it was, but he wasn't kidding. He was having a drag. So I said, what? Get out, out, out. I don't want to get involved. That's
Yeah.
the first time in my life, gentlemen, that I've had to smell what
Yeah.
drugs were. So but I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. That was one of the incidents.
Yeah.
However, to continue.
Wow. He was a brave guy for him to do that, knowing fully well that is
He knows it is Winston Churchill's
Winston Churchill's car.
Yeah, he knows that, but he wasn't cared. He wants to have a drag.
Where was the supervisors?
and it stinks as well. Like once it gets stuck with the fabric, it just sticks on it. Was the interior, was it leather or was it fabric?
Leather.
Could be leather.
Leather was it?
leather.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
is leather,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
friend.
yeah,
The
yeah.
best
cars ever.
Best car ever in those days. It was a state car.
A state
So you
car.
using it to go, when you go to private,
Yeah.
whatever state banquets
State
or
visits
whatever,
and stuff, yeah.
state occasions, you know. So that was the
One of the...
Wow.
before I joined the Air Force. So I then joined the Air Force and I got a rank right away. Then I had to go to basic training,
Right.
the place in Shropshire.
And if I may ask, like how was the currency at that time, like in terms of what you were being paid? If you then
Yeah, the
compare
salary.
if you compare to then, I'm sure because you have to send money back home to Guyana. Like how was the currency
was
like at the
getting
time?
about- I think my first paycheck was £7 a week.
Or would something
You were
pound a
getting
week?
paid £7 a week.
What would you,
So
what
if
would
you
put that in
compare
today's
it-
today's money.
If you compare it to today's money, what would you think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
But would that money make a significant change back home? Because I'm
No,
No?
because my parents were, well, I'd say they were well off. My father was a general foreman
oh right
for geological department.
Right.
His job was to go out test the bauxite,
Right.
take samples.
Yeah.
Then the samples go to the lab.
Right.
The lab decide what type of bauxite, what ore, and all the quality and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Then the drag lines come and dig it up to the ships. The ships take it up to be washed and cleaned and all the rest of it. That's my
Right.
job. So my
Right.
father was general foreman.
Right. So they're doing quite well back home. And
family.
stuff, so you didn't
Family,
really
my
need to
family.
It
support.
comes to a
Right.
very
Right,
So
right.
that's not even middle class, isn't it? That is a Porsche. That's Porsche.
So my parents were well off. We didn't want for anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So all the money that you're basically making at the time
I can
you
do
just
that.
keep
But
for yourself.
I decided to send money home once a month, £10
Yeah.
on a what was those? Can't remember. I didn't know how we did. You had I used to send
Shillings,
£10.
isn't it?
Yeah.
These two shillings.
Yes, you
10 shillings.
10 shillings, pound shillings, and
Yeah,
pence.
pence, yeah.
yeah. So I used to send about £10 a month. And my mother wrote back and says, "I don't want your money,"
Oh my goodness.
because my mother gave me £200
Wow.
in 1957
No.
Came over.
to come to England.
That's
Yeah.
2 million. In into this.
story about that. I went to Barclays Bank. I said, I need £50.
Yeah.
And I put the £150 in the bank.
Yeah.
So I went to Barclays Bank, put this money. The cashier looked at me. "Where did you get that money from?" I said, "What business is that of yours?"
Okay, look at it. Look at that. At the time, I wonder.
yes.
Yeah.
At the time, let's
Yeah.
be fair. At the time, you come as a black man, you have £200,
Yeah.
and you put it into the bank,
Banks. Like, where are you getting this money from?
and you're black as well.
Well, it's like even nowadays they still ask you if, let's say I was to walk into the bank right now with £10,000 and take it out or
Give
put it
you
into the
another joke
bank.
about that later.
Yeah, they ask you questions.
So I said to him, "Mind your business. That's my money."
Yeah.
I said, "Do you know how I become of this?" So I think the manager heard him and came and said, "What's the problem?" I said, "This young man asked me where I got my money from." I says, "I didn't thief it. I can assure you, but I want to put it in an account." He says, the manager says, "Okay, sorry about that. Apologize." And that was that. That was another story about that. Yeah. However, I joined the Air Force, and I went to the station in Middlesex, my area station, Bomber Command. And while working there, I realized this is not what I want,
Right.
because I used to dress in my uniform
Right.
to work,
Yeah.
change from my uniform into my overalls,
Right.
because motor mechanic work is very greasy. You know.
Greasy. Yeah.
But the other chaps never do that. I thought, I don't like the standard here.
Yeah.
I noticed they drink their tea, put the cup down, and the cup is there for 2 or 3 days, and they come and pour more fresh tea in that.
They're still doing it now.
I thought, this is not what I'm about. This is
Yeah.
definitely not
This is in the army.
this is the Air Force.
Air Force,
Air
yeah.
Force. And I thought, no, Derek, I have to get away from here. So about 6 months later, I think it is, I went to my flight sergeant, who's in charge of the department, and says, "Flight, I would like to remuster to another trade, to electronics. He says, I was SAC, yes, SAC Thomas, he says, "I was looking forward for you to come to see me."
Really?
I said,
Why?
"Hey." He says, "You are different from the rest of the guys."
Oh my, that is.
Just imagine, he noticed the difference already.
But then I'm guessing was that purely based on the fact that I'm guessing the people that you had you was part of the group with
Yeah.
were kids who were maybe, let's say, British born,
They were, British born.
and then you came from a different culture. So of course, the way you behave is not going to be.
Obviously, another thing,
Yeah.
the standard that you
Standard
want to
one.
maintain,
Exactly.
and the presentation that you want to do, as the way you want to present yourself, is totally different.
And he saw this over the months I was there.
Yeah.
And he said, "I was waiting for you to come and see me."
Wow.
So I said, why, sir?" He says, "You are different from the rest of the guys here."
Right.
this is strange from my guy. However, I had to take a test again, which I passed. And he says, I wanted to do, what was it? Yes, electronics. He says, okay. He says, any papers you want me to sign, I'll sign it.
You know what? Ladies and gentlemen, please, you need to subscribe on this channel, man. This is life stories. Please do subscribe and share this information with anybody else, man. Yeah.
I then passed the test, and I went up to a place called Melcham in Wiltshire.
Right.
That's the training station for electronics people, electronics, aircraft electrics, electronics. And while I was there, I went on my junior technician course, higher rank, and I passed that course with distinction. And my job was to prepare circuits, because it was a training camp. I used to prepare circuits so that the students can have practical experience on various circuits. You know, I used to wire the bomb circuits, gun circuits, all this sort of stuff. And while I was working on these days, the wing commander, who was the stationed education technical officer, I was singing. I can remember exactly.
I want to hear that.
When I fall in love. And he crept up behind me. He says, Junior Technician Thomas, it looks like you're enjoying your job. Of course it started. I said, yes, sir. He says to me, how would you like to be trained as a flight simulator specialist?
Wow.
I said, what is a flight simulator? I hadn't a clue.
Yeah.
He says they are the simulators where the pilots are being trained on before they fly. I said, I thought this sounds good.
Oh my! Right? Oh, I would grab that.
So I said, yes, sir. He says, I'll send you for a month. Not training, but to see what a simulator looks.
And I'm guessing this is your second, rank.
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously you've done your first one, and then now this is your second one.
Right.
Wow. And in what space? How many years was this all happening?
2 years.
Wow.
In 2 years, you've been in England.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's mad crazy. And how did you keep contact with your parents?
But letters. We used to write each other and all the rest.
All right, okay.
Write letters.
Wow.
No WhatsApp.
No. What's up? You're kidding. It's either telegram.
What's WhatsApp? What's WhatsApp?
It's either telegram or letters. Telegram or letters. Oh, you know.
No fax machine.
What's that? What's that?
Fax machine came in later.
Wow.
And he sent me to RAF. RAF, what's his number? Can't remember the name of the station. However, that's where you had the Britannia aircraft and the Comet aircraft.
Wow.
Right.
I don't think you knew those names at all nowadays.
Yeah, no.
And there it was, the simulator, these pilots doing their training. I thought, this air-conditioned room.
Wow.
I thought, this is fantastic. I like this.
So before, if I may just ask a quick question. So before you basically got promoted to the flight simulators department course. In terms of the treatment that you had received from the Air Force at the time, as being a black person, how was that like? Did you feel like you were treated in any way different, shape or form?
No, I wasn't treated any way better. No, any way different form. It was pretty good at the
really?
time. Yeah, pretty good at the time. Because another good thing about sports. I played cricket.
Right.
I played football. I played hockey, and right away I was in the cricket team.
Yes, I saw in your book that you was part of a cricket team of
Singapore.
Singapore, yes.
Yeah, we committed to that. Yeah. So he sent me to on this course for a month. So I went and I saw how the pilots are trained and how they do it. And then I went back to my old station, which is Melcham, and he said to Derek, what do you think about it? I said, sir, it's great. I would love to be involved in that.
Yeah.
He says, well, in a few months' time, the Air Force has produced an aircraft called a Lightning aircraft.
Right.
The first aircraft to build the sound barrier.
And I've heard about lightning.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to send you on a course. I says, thank you, sir. But before I didn't know this, the Air Force went back to Guyana to check on my parents to see if they were communists.
Right.
So I had a letter from my mother saying, Derek, what have you done? This white man, this is her words.
Right.
She said, this white man come to my house asking me all sorts of questions
Yes.
about your father and I.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that till years later.
I suppose it's because now you are now working on such bigger
It
projects.
was also a secret.
Secret project.
Another thing,
Yeah.
database needs to be kept.
Yeah.
What do you call? You don't have to talk about what they're doing in there.
Yeah.
You don't have to share information with anybody else. And you have to
Yeah.
watch everything.
Yeah. So because the aircraft was a secret aircraft, they sent to my parents to make sure they were not communists.
Yeah.
And because in those days communism was
yeah.
very high. So
That's right, yeah.
and then my mother, what this white man come and ask me all sorts of questions. However, I went on a year's course in Middlesex, a place called a company had built the aircraft.
The aircraft,
Simulator. They built the aircraft simulator.
Simulator. That's the company.
That's the company, Ari, oh dear, such a long time I forget the name. However, I was there for a year. But joining this company, the only black person I was the only black person in this company.
Shout out to
So
you.
when I go to work in the morning, I have to go through security. When I go through security, we had 12 of us was on the team from various, or the airmen, 12 of us was on the team.
But then, Derek, if I can, what about the other white colleagues? How did they receive you? Because now you just come into their own territory.
Yeah, stepping on their toes, you know.
Yeah, you come in now, you just want to change everything. You want to mess up. And you
taking up ranks in
Air Force,
the Air Force in
but
2 years.
I'll give you a joke. On
Right.
the course that I did at Melksham, because I had a rank already when I joined the Air Force, I was senior man for my billet. I was in charge of the billet of the other guys here.
Wow.
The corporal said to me one day, Derek, and in this billet that we stayed in, you have stoves at each end, and they burned coke in those days.
Yeah.
Right? And you had to clean them ever so often. So the corporal in charge of the block said to me, Derek, I want you to get one of the lads to clean the stoves. So I went to this chap and I said, I nominate, the corporal says, you have to clean the stoves here.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any orders from any black man.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I said, is that so, my friend? So I report him to the corporal.
Right.
And the corporal came in the billet one day and says, young man, if that sort of thing happens again, you're out of the Air Force on your neck.
Wow. Wow.
So they came to...
So this guy, he felt that he's so privileged
Yes.
that he'll never take
orders from
another black man, from a black man.
That must have given you such confidence as well.
I must say, I've always been a confident person.
Yeah.
And I've always been a positive person.
But then to also have that support from your commander as well.
Exactly.
That
helps.
that helped.
But then, I wonder, at the time the racism, how was racism?
Very high in England. Very high.
How? Because you were treated differently. Probably you were you were Elon Musk at the time. You know, black Elon Musk. But your scores were high. And then they saw something on you.
Yeah, yes.
But the racism
was still there.
How was like? Did you ever felt that the racism is...
Because I was in the Air Force, I was really away from that. The people in civilian life was more getting that sort of
Yeah.
problem. But I have one incident with that because I was dressed in my uniform.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine who came on the same ship with me wanted a flat in London, North London.
Right.
So we saw the advertisement in the paper, vacancy, right?
Yeah.
So I phoned the woman, and it says, I saw you have a flat to rent.
Right.
Oh, she says, come on. Yes, I did. So both of us, I dressed in my uniform, so
Oh, yes, please.
please, We rapped at the door.
Yeah.
You just mentioned that you have the flat to rent. Oh no, sorry.
Close the door.
Shut the door.
Wow. Wow.
But remember, them days, they used to have a sign
Yes.
outside
no
their
Irish,
houses.
No Irish,
Yeah.
no dogs,
No black.
Really? Wow.
So that was one incident even before I go. But dressed in my uniform, I thought I'd make the impression that I'm in the Air Force and we will get it.
But then also another interesting thing that you did touch on is the fact that like you was also involved in sports.
Yeah.
And being involved in sports and also being part of and also being at the Air Force.
Yeah.
It's all about being a part of a team.
Exactly.
And if you are good at what you do,
The respect.
they respect you.
Very respect.
You can be black, you can be pink. If you're good, you get the form of respect.
That's right, yeah.
I used to go boxing training.
Yeah. And you could fight as well. That could help.
I used to go boxing training.
Should have punched that guy from France, from Italy, isn't he?
No, I used to do boxing training with the boxers. And my station commander came in the gym one day.
Right.
And he says to me, for instance, the Welsh has a thing they call, Thomas, my name is Thomas.
Yeah.
He says, Thomas boy, for some reason, he says, you're looking good. He says, why don't you join the boxing team? So I says, sorry, my nose is, right? I don't want to get any fat. And he curled up with that. And I tell you from that, we became good friends.
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
when I go to the mess in the morning for breakfast, instead of the guys getting 1 egg, I get two
Two
eggs.
eggs. Right. Nice.
So you have to know how to.
You've got charisma, which is good, and it goes a long way as well, doesn't it?
Helps.
It helps,
And good manners.
and good manners. Yes,
manners.
definitely.
Exactly.
You can't take that away from anyone.
Very important thing about good manners. I was in the toilet,
Yeah.
and standing next to me, having a wee, was a corporal.
Right.
He was higher ranked than I am. And I winded. And I said, excuse me. He said, what did you say?
Yeah.
I said, excuse me. He says, people in the Air Force,
They don't do that.
They jump for joy.
Yeah.
I said, I was trained.
That's just how.
And the gentleman
Yeah.
went to the station, not station commander, to the squadron leader, who was in charge, and told him
Yeah.
what I did.
It's
Yeah,
good
yeah.
manners.
And I didn't know this, so a couple days later, the squadron leader called me in his office, went in, saluted the guy, what have I done? He says, congratulations. I said, for what, sir? He says, I had a report from Corporal so-and-so, what you did. He says, people in the Air Force don't do that. He says, I can see you were well trained, and where you came from, you everything. I said, yes, my parents, I said, if I done
raised you
that
well.
to the breakfast
Yeah.
table, my mother, allowed saying, excuse me, a shoe or a book or anything.
Yeah.
I see if we enter the house in the day, we didn't take our cap off and wipe our feet, a book or a pair of shoes would hit you. So you brought up with that. So you have that in your, no matter where you go, that is there first place. So that is another incident
Yeah.
in the Air Force.
Because we even struggle now. You'll see, there's some of the British people, they'll just pop
Oh, yes.
for no reason.
Yeah.
And then as if everything is
Everything,
normal.
everything is normal.
And you look at them, you think, why did you do
Yeah.
that?
It's like even myself. Like recently, I went to view a property to rent with my friend, and we met a private landlord. He was there with his wife, and they took us to this lovely flat up near the waterfront. And then as they opened the door to let us in, And then we just asked, like, do you want us to take our shoes in? Because the place was nice. It had carpets.
Yeah.
So we asked them, like, do you want to take the shoes in? And and then they said, yes, please. So we took them off and stuff. And then obviously at the end we spoke to them and see for what are the chances of us getting the place.
Yeah.
And they said that, we like you, and the only reason why we liked you is because first impressions matters. And the fact is, like, you came into our house, and the first thing that you did is you asked if we should take our shoes off. That means a lot to us.
Those little things means a lot.
It means a lot.
But these things, it's not things that you get from when you're older. You have to be taught these things from a very, very young age.
Yes.
And if you haven't got that from that time, then it's never going to be there, is it?
No.
So how was your time at the simulation school?
I spent a year there, but only the people who was on the course with me and the supervisor, the chapel teacher, spoke to me.
Right.
I was the only black person in this company.
Right.
The security guard and my teacher are the only two people that spoke to me during that, for the first couple of months.
Right.
And suddenly I used to gain manners. Every time I go working, through the security guard, and I see one of the workers, I says, good morning. And they never answer.
Yeah.
Nobody answers.
So it's quite a hostile environment.
Yes, at the time.
But they shocked as well, isn't it? It's like...
The first black person,
first black people
in a company of that, making such an important
point and play, equipment.
And they also were building the TSR-2, was another aircraft the Air Force had built, but it never come into production.
You're not gonna tell us you worked on a Spitfire as well, are you?
So this went on for about a month or so.
Right.
And one morning, going into the work, I saw a young lady pass. I says, good morning. And she replied, good morning. Gosh, this is strange. And my dear friend, after that woman said good morning to me, everybody in the company started speaking to me.
Why is that?
God in heaven knows.
That is absolutely...
I got so popular that I was invited to the mayor's ball, the people's home, and all sorts of things.
Is this a woman that everyone wanted in this place?
True, yeah. Could be.
They all invite me to dance the darts team.
Yeah.
I became popular.
You were famous now.
Everybody's supposed to speak to me from that day. But that's just to show you.
Yeah.
If you make the
good impression. Yeah.
It eventually pays off. So just out in the morning, when she says good, she replied, I was
lovely.
So was it the first time you had seen this woman?
The first time I've seen her.
You had seen her. Wow.
Because walkers used to pass me as I go in. Nobody says anything. I say good morning and nobody answers.
Yeah.
And she just answered.
Wow.
And my dear friend, for the year I spent there, I couldn't do anything wrong.
Wow.
I was I was invited to the mayor's ball.
Yeah.
The people's home for tea.
Should we give this woman a shout out?
Yeah. I don't know where she is. I'm talking about in the 60s, my friend.
Did you go on and become best friends after that, or was that the last of it?
That's the last of it.
Oh, interesting. That's very interesting.
I was invited to play darts with the darts team and all sorts of things that got me involved with.
So as a young man now,
yeah.
Because now every opportunity is opening up, everything goes good for you. How was the dating? Because that was really rare.
Yeah.
Were you dating white girls?
Yeah, no, I didn't date any white girls. I had a girlfriend who was from Barbados.
Oh, okay.
And she was a nurse at Wilson Hospital. In fact, only a couple of weeks ago I saw her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Barbados or in...
I met her in England.
Oh, okay.
She came in to do nursing at the time. That's how we met. And I went to a party when I was living in Labrador at the time, and I met her because her aunt's boyfriend was also from Barbados, and he had a party, and that's where I met.
Okay.
That's my first girlfriend.
Right.
And she is the mother of my daughter that came here.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
right.
lovely.
Interesting.
But the white girls, they were not crazy for you. Because
I think really and truly I wasn't interested in the white girls
Yeah.
at the time.
Oh.
Because I was involved in more black people.
People,
at the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So we used to have parties, bring a bottle, a party, and that sort of thing in those
Yeah.
days. And we used to have some great times. And
Like-
in fact, how I met her, I was Roy, my friend. We all work at Roots at the same time.
Right.
This is my days working in civilian life at Roots. And we went to this party and we were dancing. And this young lady, I was dancing with somebody else, and this girl came up to me after I finished. I like the way you dance. I said, "Is that so?" And that was it.
That was it.
That was
The
a
re- the re-
pass.
the rest is history.
That was a pass.
The rest is history.
That's history. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
So that was that. So I did the. Oh, also at when I was on the course. In the evenings, we had nothing to do, so I thought. So I got the newspapers,
Yeah.
local paper, and I saw dancing practice.
Right.
I thought this is interesting. So I went and joined this dancing class, and it was ballroom dancing.
Right.
Oh.
And I took an English friend of mine who was a course with me, and we went. And I was doing pretty well because I always liked dancing and so on. But he was so bad, he was an Englishman. Instead of holding the girl in front of him, he used to hold the girl
God.
On the side.
and he was doing the walls with the instructor, and he tripped and fall over.
So you didn't show him the moves before you got there, no?
No,
You didn't teach him anything before you got there, no?
no, because I was there
Yeah,
to learn
assumed.
as well.
Yeah.
But our dance in the West Indies, we did walls as
Yeah.
well, you know, because it's sort of worldwide thing.
But we as black people, we have the rhythm.
Rhythm.
Yeah.
We have
Rhythm.
Man, have you seen the videos of like Theresa May when she was trying to dance? was it as bad as that?
Oh, they were worse than that. They're terrible.
Oh, man.
I'll never forget my friend. His name is Howie. And he used to hold a girl.
Yeah.
And the two of them collapsed on the floor.
Is he still around? Is he still around, your friend?
Oh, no, I died some years ago.
Oh, bless him, bless him.
Yeah. And that was his dancing. Dancing training finished.
Right.
But I still went on and thing. And that came in later, which I shall tell you about.
Right.
So we did the course.
Yeah.
I spent a year at the General Precision System, was the name of the company. And I finished the training, and then I was posted to Singapore,
right.
a flight simulator, in 1966, Singapore, before Singapore became independent.
Yes.
And we were in the flight simulator there and working away and playing cricket.
Are you still working on the Lightning aircraft?
Yes, on the Lightning simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started playing sports again. I played cricket and hockey and football and all the rest of it. And we had a championship called the Far East Championship, Cricket Championship, which comes every year. And I was chosen to represent the station at cricket.
Yeah.
So I went to my flight sergeant who's in charge of the simulator. I says, "Flight, I have to take part in the cricket championship." He says, "You can't, you have work to do. You can't, you can't go and play cricket. How do you expect the simulator is going to operate?" You can't go. So I says, "Fair enough, flight." So the cricketing officer saw me one day. He says, "Derek, are you ready for the tour?" I says, "Sir, my flight sergeant, the cricket tour." I says, "My flight sergeant wouldn't allow me." He says, "What? The flight sergeant telling you that you cannot play cricket for the station?"
Wow.
He came into the section a couple of days later. He says, "Flight, what's the other men doing here if Derek can't get time off to play cricket?"
Yeah.
You have 12 men working in the team. Why can't he have a couple hours off to play cricket? And he really laid into him.
Cool.
Of course, the flight sergeant wasn't very happy.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's their business. I just keep quiet.
You just keep quiet.
I
Yeah.
keep quiet.
Yeah.
Eventually, I was allowed
To go. Yeah,
play
yeah, yeah.
cricket, and I played cricket in Singapore. I played cricket in Australia.
Yes.
And I played cricket in Hong Kong and
Wow.
Malaya.
Wow.
And Malaya.
Wow. So did you play? Had you played cricket before in Guyana, or
Oh,
is,
yes,
where, is, where,
yes.
is it a big sport? Is it?
It's
Is it big sport?
sport.
That's our
Oh,
national
right.
sport in
That's
Guyana.
that's national sports.
That's
Cricket.
our national
Yeah.
sport is cricket.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Same as most of the Caribbeans.
Oh yes,
They love cricket.
Oh yes,
Cricket is
we
the number
used to
one.
dominate world cricket for years.
Yeah.
You ever heard of people like?
Do you ever beat South Africa?
Yeah,
they
you played
did.
South Africa.
Yeah,
In fact, we just played.
We'll
South
beat
Africa.
you. We'll beat you.
The men team.
Yes.
Because I know, obviously, like even South Africa has got very good rugby team, as well as Zimbabwe's got a very good rugby team as well.
Yeah.
Of
But they have a
course.
good cricket team.
A
as well.
cricket team as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
The women team is also doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course you've then got the what's called India, which is
Yeah.
it's
The West
massive.
Indies, they're very good as well.
Yeah, we were playing. Well, we ruled the cricket world
Yeah.
from about 1960, 70, all the way till in 1999. That area, yeah.
Right,
We
right.
had famous cricketers like Clyde Lloyd, Vivian Richards,
Right.
and all these great cricketers. You know, we had
Right.
fast bowlers, Wesley Hall, Griffith, and all those guys. We
Yeah.
beat England many times. You know,
Wow.
we beat Australia many times. You know,
Right.
Oh yeah.
So when you were playing cricket, when you were part of the Singapore team, were you then actually competing against
All the
Australia?
teams, yeah, we played all the. We used to, Air Force used to play against the Army,
Right.
The Navy, the local team, police
Right.
team, the local
Yeah.
Indian team,
Right.
Because Singapore has so many different nationalities, and all the nationalities have different teams.
Most of them, they used to play under Commonwealth, isn't it? With the Commonwealth countries. So because everybody trains with different Commonwealth countries, and then they will have to establish like kind of like a sporty thing for them.
Yeah, so cricket is a very normal game.
Normal game for you.
You grew up playing cricket. I have bruises on my shin
Yeah.
from a cricket ball. Oh, you had pads in those.
I could never understand the game of cricket.
No?
It goes on for days, doesn't it?
It depends what you play.
I could never understand the game of cricket.
Cricket it was a great game.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it helped me because I went places like Hong Kong, Australia, Perth,
Wow.
and Malay. I played cricket in Malay. So,
Wow.
So
wow.
you've traveled the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's only a part of it.
Yeah.
But your salary was affected, or they pay for you, or
Oh yes, we were getting regular pay every week.
because remember we were on £7 per month.
Yeah,
It's a
but then-
per week, isn't it? £7 per week.
When I got,
And now you're
but when I did my national service,
yeah.
my first pay slip, £1.50.
Wow. A week.
But the Air Force give you food, bedding, lodge, everything.
Yeah.
And then I used to get £7 a week. I go, gracious me! Oh my goodness!
This is
Yeah.
good money.
This was national insurance when you were in national service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you get in rank and thing, money
Which you have gone.
Which I've gone. And I went on simulator was the highest paid non-commissioned rank.
Wow.
A simulator specialist.
Oh, my
was
goodness.
was the highest paid rank in the Air Force at the day.
Right.
At the time. Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
Higher than that was then to officers.
Right.
Because I had that, so I got that.
Yeah.
And that was good.
You know what? He was looking like this.
Wow. Look at that.
Young man. At this age, how
You haven't changed. You haven't changed at all.
No,
No, you haven't changed at all.
Well,
Wow.
I'm going to be 88 in 2 weeks' time.
88.
88.
And what you've got plans for your birthday? How are you planning on celebrating it?
Well, I'm going to
I
I'm going to Cyprus.
Cyprus.
I want you to
Nice.
meet my mom. I'll give you a WhatsApp number.
So I spent 2 years in Singapore.
Right.
And I did quite a lot of things in
Yeah.
Singapore, lots of traveling and so on. And then in 1966, 68, Singapore became independent. And so they took over, and that's how I come to live in Ipswich.
Right.
I was posted to RAF Watersham.
Watersham, yeah.
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 In Ipswich.
I was going to ask you what brought you To Ipswich.
That's what I came. I was with 56 Squadron on the flight simulator here in Ipswich, in Watersham.
What's from here? Yeah.
We had a simulator there, and I spent 68 until 1971
Right.
when I was demobbed. And then that's how I saved to live at Ipswich.
Right.
I left the Air Force in 1971, and then Ipswich became my permanent place of residence.
Of residence, yeah.
Ipswich was a strange place in 1968.
In what way?
Yeah,
in what way?
My friend, every evening, around 6 o'clock, a gentleman used to come on his bicycle and light the gas light on the road.
No.
Yes.
You mean the
Is that-
street lights?
The street light was gas.
Right.
In
No.
Belstead Avenue, I had an RAF living quarters. In Belstead.
Because over there, Ravenswood
Yeah.
used to be the airport, isn't it?
Yes.
In Ravenswood.
It used to be a
and then
local
the
airport.
other side used to be like all the plants and everything.
Factories and
The
cranes.
factory
and all the
cranes
and
used
all
to be that side.
And that just be the airport.
So everybody on a street light, how many people they used to employ there?
I don't know how many people, but this was strange
Yeah.
to me.
So how was it like then? Obviously now having been in Singapore for such a long time, and then being in the forces for such a long time, and then now being stationed into Ipswich, and then now being a permanent resident in Ipswich. Well,
When I came to Ipswich, I thought, what have I done the Air Ministry?
well, that's the same reaction that you did when you came over here, isn't it?
What have I done here? What I've done the Air Force? I thought,
At least this time you weren't blaming your mom, were you?
I thought, what a thing. But there again, I thought, I'm here, so I have to. Then, after demobbing before I demobbed in 1971,
Right.
I started writing for jobs because I knew I was coming out of the Air Force, and I started writing for jobs. I wrote 32 applications. No, I'm a fully trained specialist. I had my ONC, I had my city and guilds, I had my HNC,
Right.
which all I did in the Air Force.
In
That was
forces,
one
yeah.
good thing about the Air Force.
Yeah, they gave you qualifications.
They train you free of, you didn't have to pay.
No,
for it.
no.
Yeah.
I think till this day as well, you still
still
live
do
the
it,
forces
yeah.
with good qualifications,
Yeah.
if you, of course, if
I
you
get
want
I
to.
used to get a day release every whatever to go to school, the new night school. So I did all my education, higher education, in fact, in the Air Force. So when I came out, I didn't have to really do anything. So I wrote 32 applications. I got 2 responses.
Right.
The first place I went to in Ealing, London. Saw the application in electronic engineer, yes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I arrived, and then I said to the secretary as I entered the door, I'm here for an interview. You're here for an interview? I can see the expression on her face already.
Right.
She called the supervisor. He came out with my CV,
Yeah.
and he came out looking around. I'm standing there,
Yeah.
but he keep looking around. He said, "Where's Mr. Thomas?"
It's me.
I said, "I am Mr. Thomas."
I suppose
Right.
it's because they saw an English, I suppose.
That last name-
The last name.
Yeah.
And then they assume that it
assume
might have
that
been.
a white guy is coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Right.
So
And now,
he got my CV and he says, "Mr. Thomas," he says, "You're very well qualified for this job." He says, "But I don't think the rest of the workers would work with you."
Wow. So you now, it's now, you're now
just-
being
Derek,
introduced to society
Just the
now.
Society now.
Because it's
come
different. It's
closer to
different.
the
It's
mic.
different. It's different. It's different.
Right.
It's different. It's different from the
Yeah.
forces,
It's
isn't it?
different from this is different. I
Wow.
thought, is that so? I says, "May I have my traveling expenses,
yes.
please?" And I left.
No.
Yes.
What about the second one?
The second one, I went to. The guy says, "You need to have a trade test." I said, "Fine."
You've got qualifications, haven't you?
Remember, he's very intelligent at the time, isn't he?
It's no problem.
Yeah.
They called the senior engineer to take me out to test me.
Yes.
he came back and says, he's not very good on power supplies. I says, I'm not very good on what power supplies? I says, with due respect to you, sir, I have worked on power supplies in the Air Force that you will never see.
Right.
But anyway, may I have my expenses, please? I always make sure I get my travel expenses.
You're right.
And I left.
So they paid for your traveling expenses.
Oh yes. It's
Oh,
okay.
right, did they?
Yeah, I used to get the money. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
They don't do that today.
They don't do that now.
Oh, I get my travel expenses.
Right, because you're applying, you're based in Ipswich, so you're then traveling to
You have
London.
to
London.
Yeah.
In London, because
I'm going to imply that now. When I
Traveling
get
expenses.
my job or my qualification, you had people in Ipswich, couldn't you?
Yeah.
There anyway. But then I saw another advertisement in a flight magazine
Right.
for a flight simulator specialist to work in Holland
Okay.
for KLM.
KLM. That's German air flight, isn't it?
German, no, Dutch.
Dutch, yes.
Airline.
KLM, Dutch, yeah.
So the company was called Airworks at Heathrow Airport.
Right.
That's where the company was based. So I applied,
Yeah.
and I was called in for an interview at Heathrow Airport for this job in Holland. And this is, what's his name? Mr. Anderson was his name. I remember all these names so long ago. Mr. Anderson says, yes, Mr. Thomas, I think you're the right person. This is another white person.
Right.
We think you're the right person for this job.
No. No. Finally now.
Finally.
And how long is it taking you to get to this position from the time being deployed? Well, from being released from the army.
12 years.
12 years.
12 years.
To then, what? It then took you 12 years to then get a job.
Yes.
No way.
12 years in the Air Force.
No, I'm saying you
whoa.
was in the forces for 12 years,
Yes.
and then you left the Air Forces to then come to Ipswich,
yeah.
and then you're now then looking for work.
now.
And how long did that process then take until you obviously landed?
Another job.
Because I am. Are you ready? You. Come and sit down then. In 1971, 1971, I got this invitation to Holland
Yeah.
on 747 aircraft. You know the
747. That's a big aircraft.
It was a big,
Massive aircraft.
Right. So, Mr. Van Rijn said to me, no, Mr. Anderson said to me, I have to tell the Dutch that you are black. So he came out right because he realized.
Yeah, straight away.
I says fine. I says I can't change my color. Yeah. Jokingly, I was, He says,
we can bleach.
so I left it, and 3 or 4 weeks passed. I got no answer. Suddenly, I got a telegram. Can you report to Heathrow Airport to see Mr. Anderson? So, got to London, went into Heathrow Airport, Airworks department, and Mr. Anderson says, Mr. Thomas, you've got the job.
Right.
I told him that you're black, and they says, no problem. And we're sending you off to Heathrow for an interview, to Holland for interview. Arrive in Holland, he says, you'll meet a gentleman by Mr. Van Rijn at the BA desk with a newspaper on his arm to introduce yourself. So I arrived in Schiphol Airport, went to the BA desk, saw Mr. Van Rijn, introduced myself. And I said, oh, pleased to meet you, Mr. Thomas. But from where the aircraft lands to where this flight simulator building is, it's about 3 or 4 miles around the perimeter where the training. So I arrived there. All the questions I was prepared for technical questions. Of course, I'm coming for an interview.
Yeah.
Not
None
a
of that.
single word.
No.
All he wanted to know, how was I going to fit in with the rest of the simulator team, which are all white.
Yeah.
Engineers are white, the captain's aircraft, the stray hostess are white, everybody's white. I said, no problem, no problem. So he got it on one side of the aircraft, or the car, I'm on the other. And he stretched across the top of the car. He says, the top of the car, he says, when can you start?
Amazing.
Completely different.
Amazing.
Completely different. So I said to me, I have to come back to England and tell my family and all the rest of get us sorted. And my dear friend, I went back to Holland and I spent 18 months. My contract was for 3 months. I ended up spending 18 months.
Wow.
Not only getting the simulator working, but training their engineers.
Wow.
Because they bought this simulator for a company called Gemco in America, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they bought this simulator and the company went bankrupt. Therefore, they don't have any after-sale service.
Yeah.
So this simulator had 480 faults.
Wow.
And here
That needs to be sorted out.
And gracious, man. And if you see the first thing in my life, I was seeing a 747.
Yeah.
And the simulator is a part of the front of the aircraft.
Yeah.
With all the instruments as in the aircraft. Because they have to do
It has to be as realistic as possible. Yeah.
That's right. Right. Let's fast forward because of the time. Right. I've got some pictures here. Can you imagine even spend an hour?
Already?
Yeah.
We spend an hour?
An hour, 15 minutes here now.
It don't feel like it. I thought it's been like, what, 30 minutes?
6 to 7 years. I'm trying to squeeze into a couple of hours.
Man. Oh, no.
It's difficult.
No.
I know.
This is only a third.
Yeah.
You know why? He's a living AI. He is a living AI.
It's only a third
Wow.
Right.
of my career.
Wow.
I got this picture here. If that's all right, can you just explain what you've been doing here?
After I left the Air Force and I worked in Holland and all of that,
Right.
I then joined EMI. When I came back to England, I joined EMI Medical.
Right.
And EMI Medical has just developed the CT scanner
Right.
in 1971.
Right.
Okay.
So,
CT scanner, that's where they use them in hospitals.
yes.
Yeah.
For X-ray.
Yes.
What's the other one? Radiographer.
And ultrasound and all that
Ultrasound.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, my
Oh,
job was to service all of those equipment.
Wow.
Jesus
X-ray
Christ.
system, ultrasound, CT scanners, gamma cameras, a lot.
Wow.
That's my job.
Wow.
And that job took me, that's where I started my travels.
Right.
Because my job was to install these systems all over the world.
My goodness.
I did the first one in Nigeria
Wow.
at Ibadan University Hospital
Wow.
in 1985, 86.
Wow. So it was like a specialist job,
It's a
wasn't it?
specialist job.
Wow.
And I worked in Amman in Jordan, Tehran,
Yeah.
Turkey,
Oh.
Algeria, the USA, France, Sweden, Germany, Spain.
I want
The list
you
goes
to...
on.
No, man.
The list goes on.
I want you to adopt me, man.
The list goes on. What else? What else have you got? What else have you got?
I've got this picture here.
What else have you
This
got?
is how do you? This is German or
It's German, yeah.
this is German,
While working for EMI Medical,
right?
that's this what do you call it, blimp or what do you call it? I forget.
It's just like a balloon, isn't it?
It's a aircraft.
It's an
It's
an
an
aircraft,
aircraft,
some form of like aircraft,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's-
What it's
it's-
called.
And they use that to it has lights. It have lights on the side of it to advertise a German beer.
Right.
And they used to fly over Germany and
Yeah.
these lights flying.
It's similar to like an air balloon, isn't it?
It's Airbus. It's an Airbus.
It's an
Airbus.
yeah,
Yes, yes, that's the one.
And I had to look after a computer that operates the lights
Right.
on this thing. So at night, when this thing is flying, you see a man drinking beer and
Yeah.
Yeah.
advertising.
And then you'll be the guy behind the computer that's
Yes,
operating
the
it.
computer on that wasn't working.
Right.
So my company sent me to Germany, Dusseldorf, to sort it out.
Oh my goodness!
So I did that, and then they took me up for a trip in this balloon,
Yeah.
this airship,
yeah.
all over the parts of Germany, Düsseldorf and Munich and
Yeah.
all of them.
They must.
That's what
I'm sure all these companies they must have been flying you first class, weren't they?
Well,
You were getting well treated, wasn't you?
they used to charge the companies that I work for.
Yeah.
EMI used to charge them £250 a day for my work.
For your services, yeah.
Yeah.
200
And
is a
£50 a day. So
Yeah.
if and the
A
hotel
day.
expenses,
yeah.
all traveling expenses when I was working.
Your hotel as well.
Hotel
Yeah.
as well.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah. Wow.
So, everything.
Everything.
So on this, let's say equivalent of like payment,
Yeah.
how were you getting paid on this?
I was getting paid a salary from the companies.
Oh,
but they used
wow.
to charge these companies that I work for overseas
lot of money.
£250
Yeah.
a day.
That's a
Plus
lot
all
of-
the-
That's a lot of money.
That is
That's
a
a
lot.
what
lot.
I was getting.
You must have been flying first class. I'll take that
Oh yes,
first
I
class.
get good treatment.
Yeah.
This business.
No commercial.
I just want you to adopt me. I can be your son. You know,
Business class.
this one is for the CT scan, isn't
That
it?
is a CT scan. That's what it look like.
Right.
CT scan.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you briefly, if you explain how the CT scan work,
Right.
and if it gets like, if it's broken, how do you? What's the things that you look into?
Well, it's a digital machine,
Right.
and you put a patient in there, and in there you have X-ray system goes around the patient like that.
Yeah.
And it relates the information back to computers, and a radiographer can sit and see what part where the tumor is. That it's used for tumors.
Yeah.
Right. And the one with the other girl lady on it.
Which ones?
There's one girl on
There's some lot of stuff in here, by the way.
No, I got this one.
No. There's another little photograph you showed me before.
Photograph. This one. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They found that he had a tumor.
Right.
This is in Nigeria.
Right.
That he had a tumor, and if it wasn't for the CT scanner, they
would have
wouldn't have
not known.
found it. They wouldn't have found it.
That
Yes.
wouldn't.
And the same thing happened when I was in Madrid.
Right.
I went to San Sebastian. They flew me into Madrid. The aircraft stopped on the tarmac.
Yeah.
I was transferred from that aircraft to a Lear jet
Wow.
owned by the clinic
Wow.
that flew me to San Sebastian.
That's
Wow.
I arrived there 7 o'clock in the evening. Car picked me up, took me to the clinic. There was the scanner standing there,
Yeah.
not working. And they knew that the chap had a
The tumor.
tumor, but they don't know how big it was,
Yeah.
so they can operate.
So, yeah.
So I worked from about 8 in the evening until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning
Wow.
to got it working.
Wow.
Once I got it working, they brought the patient in about 9 o'clock in the morning, all they were, and they scanned it, and they found that he had this tumor as big as a golf ball.
Wow.
that's amazing, though.
So they were able to operate, and then the owner of the clinic
Yeah.
hired this restaurant, and only myself and the engineers
We're there.
were there.
Wow.
Yeah, as a treatment.
Wow.
Just
because
to
of
say
That's a
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
So you saved the hospital.
I know what I say, but I had to do the job.
Wow.
But then they asked me to come back to Madrid, which I had to visit hospitals in Madrid to make sure the scanners they had there was all working.
Working. Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
So
goodness.
that was in San Sebastian.
Wow.
God. And
Wow.
then this one, then what happened there? This is
Well, the newspaper some time ago decided that they would like me to take a picture in front of the town hall. That's Ipswich.
That's
town
in
hall.
Ipswich, isn't it? Yes.
Ipswich
oh,
town
this is
hall.
Ipswich, yeah.
Yeah, Ipswich, and I had to. I think this picture was done by Suffolk, one of the Suffolk magazines some years ago. This was a team of people. This is at Roots. That's my apprenticeship that I changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my mother.
Hello, mother.
Yeah, and that's the team at RAF when I was at Melksham
Yeah.
in Suffolk. Yeah, that's where I was a junior technician at the time.
Wow.
Right.
So, so that article basically just covered your stories, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
Because I think, for me as a person, I think you're such an icon. Seriously, because we document these things because we learn a lot from, people like you. So I wouldn't say we young, but we don't know these stories. No one share these stories.
No.
You know, for us it's a privilege. But I think they should honor you a lot.
Well, no, well, it's true though, because obviously the thing is, like the stories that you seniors have, it's like my granddad in South Africa. He's 90. He's going to be turning 89 actually in November. And you know, when you sit down and talk to them, and you hear the stories that they have to tell you, that you've got so much, information that you to give out that, you know, it's interesting. That's why, like, we've been sitting here and talking for like an hour and didn't even feel like it's been an hour. It's like, you know, I thought we were just getting started. You know, we've got
we haven't even rushed to your medals.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about your medals. We haven't spoken about the Olympic torch.
So what do you guys want to carry on?
What I want to know, after everything you've done in your life, now you started to write the book. And what the inspiration that gave you to get into to write the book?
The reason why I wrote the book, I was very fortunate to be asked to take the torch.
Right. Can you come to the mic closer, please? Yeah.
In 2011, I joined an organization here in Ipswich called Active Ipswich.
Yes.
Right? And the chap who's in charge said to me, Derek, you've done so many things in your life.
Yeah.
Why don't you apply to carry the Olympic torch? I says, never thought about it.
Wow.
Going back to the Olympic torch, in 1948, I went to the cinema, right? And that was the first time that was the second time the Olympic has been held in England. And it was on the movies, on the cinema. So I saw this chap running with the torch. This is 1948.
Yeah.
So I went back home and I thought, I'll make a torch.
Right.
So I got a piece of wood, make a cone, nail the cone onto the top.
And then here you was, we were running.
I was a real torch bearer.
Man, this is amazing. This is where you thinking.
So you pretty much manifested this moment.
So my mother said to me, Derek, what have you done? I said, I have a torch. She says, is it lit? She said, don't burn the house down. So 48 years later, I was
carrying the Olympic torch.
Read this.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Hold on to your dreams.
Hold on to your dreams.
Yeah.
The same dream you had.
Yeah. In 1948.
1948.
It came to fruition.
It came to reality.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And another reason I wrote the book because I thought it would encourage young people.
Yeah.
So no matter where you come from, what your religion is, what your nationality is, if you have a dream, you can achieve it. With hard work.
You just have to put your mind in. You just have to put your mind into it.
Put your mind to it. You can achieve it. So that's the reason I wrote the book.
Hold on to your dreams.
Hold on to your dreams.
I'm holding on to mine.
What's your dream?
Holding a torch.
So what are these medals you've got here?
Medals is what I got after serving in Singapore.
Right.
Because in 1966...
Show it to the camera, please.
Britain had an engagement with Indonesia. They had a bit of troubles and so on. So after serving in Singapore, after the Indonesian problem, the Indonesian government gave me that.
Wow. And then we've got... What else have you got? I have to be careful with this stuff.
These are ingos from the Olympics. It tells you the history of the Olympics.
Right.
Show the camera.
Right. From 1908 to 2012.
So what? You were given these when you...
No, I bought those.
Okay.
Everything here I bought.
Yeah.
Because I think this is something I can take with me to show youngsters,
people,
wherever I am, what it's all about.
What's this all about,
because these things that people have never seen before.
I've never seen them.
No,
it's the first time in my life to see
Some
these.
people don't even know they exist.
Yeah.
But I bought them because I knew I want to use them
for presentation.
Because you tell people things and they may not believe you, but if you have the to show them
Something to show.
what you've done. Yeah.
Well, the story of the Olympic torch is quite interesting. That's why when you came in, and then
You
Cedric-
couldn't stop,
and then
though. You
Cedric
couldn't
said,
stop.
You've got an Olympic torch. I was like, what? Because when I was at school at Coupleston, one boy who was in my class. He was also given the opportunity to actually carry the torch itself as well. His name was Casey Hagen. Yes, he's gone out to America now.
Okay, now there's certain things special about the Olympic torch.
Right.
It has 8,000 holes.
Can I just hold it, please?
Yeah,
Is that all right?
It wouldn't break.
I need some white gloves. This is precious. This is my first time in my life to hold an Olympic torch.
It has 8,000 holes, which represent the 8,000 torch bearers around the world. Where they travel to.
Wow.
And the triangle at the top represent the 3 times that the Olympic pit has been held in England. 1908, 1948, and 2012.
All right. So you mean this triangle
represents 3 times
3 times
that the Olympic pit has been held in England.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
1908,
Yeah.
1948, and 2012.
Right.
So everything in this torch is got details.
All this. And below there, they used to have the gas cylinder at the bottom, and the security guard
Yeah.
opened this valve here at the side to let the valve.
And how was the experience like to carry the torch?
Because my daughter and all my relatives were here.
Yes.
And as I came off the coach with this store, and I thought,
I don't want to drop it.
So
I don't want to.
no, but it's unbelievable that when you hold a torch, it goes all back.
remember,
Here I am.
he was practicing with his own made up.
So yeah, he couldn't drop it.
He couldn't drop. He practiced for how many? 40 years.
It's over here.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened in Guyana,
Yeah.
every Sunday night, we used to tune into Westminster Central Hall.
Yes, sir.
Where they have Sunday service. And my mother and I and my sister and brother we had a bush radio.
Yeah.
And we used to listen to this. We had to do it every Sunday night with your mother.
Yeah.
And 40 years, but 10 years ago,
Right.
I had the privilege of as a Toastmaster to do a concert
Right.
at Westminster Central Hall.
Wow.
So those things that happened in my younger days seem to
Coming to fruition.
come to fruition.
Wow.
So it just shows you what life is
It's
like.
about yeah.
I never thought.
That's crazy.
And
So this Olympic torch, what year was it?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
All right. As we have the banner there, can you just explain in there all what was happening on that day?
Yes, they
Yeah.
came. My torch was lit first.
Just hold the mic. Just Derek. Just take the mic with you. Yeah.
I started off the torch bearing.
Yeah.
My torch was lit by the security people. Then I ran and then lit his torch. And then he ran
then-
to the next
so
place and
yeah.
lit somebody else's torch. So I was the first person here in Ipswich to
Wow.
go out with the torch. Yeah.
Wow. That's very inspiring. That's
That
very
is-
inspiring. That's
This
very,
is
very
a
inspiring.
friend of mine who's a draftsman did that from here, and this is
I like that picture.
yeah. This is
Hey, but you
Accompany-
on your days, Derek, you look round like hot. A young girl will say you were hot.
but there's so much more.
So much stuff. And
And
And what's the story behind the? Of course, we know the stories behind the Windrush.
that was done by the Windrush organization. You had
Organization, yeah.
What his name died the other
So you was
day.
also featured on there as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm doing a function for them on Tuesday.
Are you?
The Holt.
Okay.
The Holt. The Holt. The
Yeah.
Little University.
Yeah.
I'm doing a function for them on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny enough, that's where Nigel works.
Oh,
the guy, the guy who said he's a historian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where he
you know,
works.
I see him on Tuesday.
Nigel
Yeah,
Smith.
I see.
I'll tell him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
he's a
There's
nice
young lady
guy.
called Ivy Scott. She's the guy who's run the program.
Oh, nice.
And that other picture, the far end there,
Yeah.
is my school where I did from Guyana.
From Guyana.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice
this one
school.
here.
Very nice. Guy.
Oh man, This is
Wow.
You're such a living AI, I tell you.
I don't want. There's a little other stories I like to tell you
Yeah.
that occurred while I was in Turkey and Paris. I went to do a job in Tehran,
That's right.
right? And from there, I had to come to Turkey to do another job at a hospital at the capital of Adana. And I arrived in Istanbul, and I said to the taxi driver, I have to get to Adana. He says, you can either go by train or you can go by coach. By coach is 8 hours by coach. He says, look, I'll take your advice. So he took me to the bus station, board the coach. This was in the winter, February, snow everywhere. Got in the coach. Well, I'm the only black person on the coach. Nobody spoke English either. So I was sitting there.
That's techie.
I was sitting there. On my right side was a guy smoking old rope. Another one smoking something else.
Something else, yeah.
And I never smoked in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm like this. However, every time we stop, they are offering me, smiling, offering me food. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Halfway down the trip, I was sitting in the back of the bus. Everybody started looking back at me. They were smiling. That was one good thing about it. They were smiling. And suddenly, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. And this went on for the next 4 hours. And all I'm doing is, yeah. Because the reason is this, they couldn't communicate with me because I don't spoke Turkish.
Yeah.
And I didn't speak, they can't speak English either. So the only thing they can link me with, a
Muhammad
black
Ali.
man, is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
So,
Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad.
so I arrived in where I was going. I was shattered. I was sick. So I had to take all
smoke.
my
Clothes
out,
and- yeah.
stick it outside the door of the hotel.
Yeah.
And I slept for the next 24 hours. I phoned the office now that I was supposed to. And the agent said, where are you, Derek? I says, I'm in the hotel here. But we came to the airport to meet you. But I saw they were on strike. He said the same night they stopped the strike and the airlines were flying. So instead of doing all that trouble, I could have
Stayed and jump on flight.
The next best thing now, I used to sing for a choir here
Yeah.
in Ipswich. Orwell School.
Yeah.
Old school, yeah.
We used to sing with a choir there. And every year, 2 weeks before Christmas, we used to go abroad.
Right.
We went to Paris, we went to Prague, we went here, there. And we were in Paris. And we were visiting the chateaus. So I was in the chateau looking around, we all looking around. And this Japanese couple saw me. Sydney Poitier, Sydney Poitier, Sydney Poitier. So my friends, somewhere in Japan, there's a photograph of me posing at Sydney Poitier. I had to sign an autograph.
Oh my!
When you're out doing, during playing cricket or?
No, this was in the choir. I was singing in the choir.
Right.
We went to visit. We used to go after doing tour.
Oh, okay.
Going to, I was at Orwell School.
Yeah.
I was in the choir, and we used to go on tour.
Yeah.
In Europe.
Yeah.
Just before Christmas.
Yeah.
And we went to the chateau. We were all looking around, visitors.
Yeah.
Looking around. It's the same chateau that one of the James Bond films were made.
Oh,
Right.
right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this Japanese couple pulled me aside.
Yeah.
Miss Sydney Poitier.
Yeah.
So I had to sign an autograph, pose with his wife, pose with himself. So somewhere in Japan, there's a photograph
Of you.
Of you. As Sydney Poitier. So
Oh my
those
goodness.
are a few little things that has happened
Oh, good.
throughout my
Oh my
Yeah.
yeah. So,
You know, with all this information, as a young guy or as anybody out there, what would you give the best advice for young people?
education,
Education.
good manners, very important.
Why education?
Because if you don't have education, you can't get your feet in the door, nowhere.
Right.
and you have to be positive. Do not involve with negative thinking people. They draw the energy from you. Be positive and be polite. Another thing, young people going for a job, is very important. Your appearance is what.
First impressions matter.
First impression matters. I'll tell you why. When I went to an interview at EMI, I was in blazer, gray flannels. I had a briefcase that was still in the wrapper, in the velvet bag.
Yeah.
I had the interview. I got the job right away.
Right.
2 months later, we went to the supervisor's office for something, and we were talking. He said, Derek, from the time I saw you, I knew I was going to employ you. So first impression is very important. And the same thing happened here in Ipswich. When I went to an interview, went to financial services, the same thing happened. Later on, my mind just said, as soon as I saw you, I knew. Your appearance is very important.
Wow.
Look, I want to test. I'm gonna call him Sir Derek.
No. So, gentlemen, I don't know how long you guys want to carry on.
No, we're done now. We're done now.
Fine, okay.
But I want to test you on this one.
Yeah.
How's my impression?
Absolutely brilliant, gentlemen. I thoroughly enjoy your conversation.
No, thank you.
I'm glad I was able to give you some information.
Honestly,
Would you come back?
It's unfortunate about the time.
Yeah. Would you come in?
There's lots more I can
There's
tell you.
there's lots more. But
Do part 2.
Do part two. Part 2.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, thank you very much. You're coming back.
I'll come back. As
Brilliant.
long as I'm here.
Love it, man. I just got smacked. Thank you. Thank you. Before we go, can I ask your daughter? Sorry.
Barbara.
Yeah. Sorry, Barbara. My camera guy had to leave quickly. Can you take the pictures so I can send you the pictures?
Okay.
Yeah. While we're sitting here, I wonder, do you mind to use your phone?
Me want my dad, give me more wee. Me want my dad, give me more wee. Me want my dad, give me more